think men can give birth?
I think that...
yes or no question?
I think that a person who is assigned male at birth, I don't think they can give
Assigned
birth.
male at birth? So people are not male at birth?
I think that a person...
See, your evidence that college is a scam, my friend.
So what do you say in some cases, women with IUDs are murderers?
Of course not, they're not murderers.
So what's the difference between an IUD killing a conceived zygote and like a mother going to Planned Parenthood and killing the fetus in her womb?
That was actually the best point somebody made.
It's not about the cells. It's not about... No, I'm speaking. 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 No, I'm speaking.
Hello, everyone. I am Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, and I am surrounded by 20 woke college kids.
What's going on, everyone? Sauce Kenny here. Today, we're going to react to an interesting segment that I found from Jubilee. Hopefully, Jubilee doesn't copyright my video, but if they do, I'm still going to have it up. I don't really care. I just wanted to react to what they had going on. So this is an interesting premise. I don't know, some people had problems with it in the comment section, talking about how it's a flawed system because pretty much if you don't make a point that someone would make themselves, they're more likely to vote you out than actually agree with you. So people were complaining about the system in the comment section. Jubilee is a Californian-based company, so I'm assuming most of their viewers are either center-left or leftist. That's the majority of their viewers. I know they have some people in the middle and some people who are center-right, like myself, as a part of their audience. But I think this is an interesting premise that they have, having one person surrounded by people who don't agree with it. I believe it's 25 college students, and the premise is, can they outsmart one conservative? So Charlie Kirks is going one, as you saw from the intro, and I wanted to kind of focus on 3 claims that he had and react to each one individually. I already have the time steps here on my side, so that way I can just cut it out and jump, so that way you guys don't sit here and watch through it. So enough of me talking. Let's get into claim number 1, which would be about abortion. Let's go.
My first prompt is, abortion is murder and should be illegal. All right.
Can I maybe go?
Okay, hello, what's your
Hi,
name?
Juliana.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Can
you.
we get our terms right first?
Yeah.
Okay, abortion is the forcible ending of the viability of a being in utero, otherwise known as a fetus. Do we agree that's what abortion is?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, great. And then murder is the intentional taking of life, different than killing or sudden death. So murder would be the intent taking another life. Do we agree with that?
Okay.
Okay, and then we agree that murder in general in society should be illegal.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So yeah, no, I do want to preface that I'm a Catholic.
Okay.
So I think one really important thing that the Bible says is to not judge. And just going back to the topic.
Okay. Sorry. I'm not religious. I am religious, actually. I don't know. I'm struggling with this, but I grew up in a Christian background, and I have a strong interest in philosophy. And one thing I like about philosophy is the point that it tries to rationalize a worldview and articulate it to the masses. That's philosophy in my view. And if I take the Bible as a rational kind of ideal, the idea of not judging someone is not, hey, I can't criticize you for your wrongdoing. It's, I can't punish you because you're doing something that is different from what I've done. Because end of the day, you got to go with the definition of the time that judge meant. Judgment in the time of the Old Testament meant that you would exact punishment on someone else. And this is my problem with the liberals. And you liberals like to find things to justify their claims. And they try to appeal to people's principles to excuse their argument. Because end of the day, I'm allowed to judge you just like you're allowed to judge me. You can think my video's crap. You can think, Kenny, you're not a smart person. You can judge me all you want. Liberals do it all the time. Liberals judge Donald Trump as a Hitler. They judge people who are conservative as idiots, not educated. You're judging people, but you don't hold yourself to that standard because you're not a Christian. But then when the Christians are judging people who are not upholding or not doing things based on their worldview, you try to appeal to this misinterpreted Bible verse to justify your idiocy, your wrongdoing, or your perceived wrongdoing, instead of just actually making the point. And I'm tired of this, but I digress. Let's continue with the video.
I think there's a big difference between, cells in utero than a living, breathing, existing being. And while I do believe it's murder, and that's just my personal belief, right? I don't believe in telling people what to do with their bodies. That's not up to me, and it's not up to us as well as Christians
But
to judge.
should we prevent murder in society?
For sure, yeah.
Then it should be illegal.
But I think that it's really different, right? Because, these people aren't.
So they didn't like her argument, right? I didn't like her argument either, right? I think that's the weakest claim, because the pro-abortion, their main critique is that, oh, pro-lifers, they need to appeal to a religion to have the strong. And if you're new to this channel, or you have never been on my channel before, I have made many arguments for abortion without appealing to religion whatsoever. My first point is the human rights angle. I say, hey, you believe all humans should have human rights? If something's human, does it deserve the same amount of human rights as another human? You're gonna say yes. Okay, is a fetus human? Yes, you have to say yes, because if you say no, you're unscientific. That means your position isn't based on science or anything demonstrable. It's based on faith. The same argument you'll say about religion, correct? So going down the thought mythology about abortion and what constitutes a life, pro-life has the most consistent position. Hey, you're human from conception. Because at the end of the day, it takes two humans to produce a human. Therefore, the thing that's coming out of you is a human. And fetus is just a definition meaning offspring. So the argument that pro-lifers are having is, hey, a mother should not be allowed to kill her offspring because that offspring is inconvenient to her. And 99% of abortions are elective abortions, aka these babies that's being aborted, majority of babies being aborted are healthy babies that are not a threat to the life of the mother. Less than 1% of abortions are due to medical reasons, but pro-choicers use the exception to justify the rest of the abortion. That means if I as a conservative, I go, hey, look, we should allow abortion only for the life of the mother and incest and rape. Would you ban all other abortions that's not fitting into those stipulations?
Sorry, nice to meet you. Okay, what's your name?
Naima.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, can I just ask, at how many weeks do you think that a fetus is viable?
Well, viability and moral worth are two different things.
No, but I'm asking you, at how many weeks do
Well,
you think
at
a
about
fetus
20
is viable?
weeks, a baby can survive outside of utero.
So it's actually 24 to 26
Well, it's
weeks?
20. The youngest ever in a NICU unit actually happened in San Diego, not far from here, and survived at 20 weeks.
Okay.
See, and this is the problem with you pro-lifers, pro-choicers, sorry, is that the pro-life have examples of, hey, this person was able to survive. We have stories, the pro-lifers have stories of people who survived an abortion attempt, multiple abortion attempts by their parents to the point that it handicapped them. I think there was a girl who was, their mom attempted to abort her and she survived the abortion, and she lived past the term where she was legal, the mother would be legally allowed to abort her, and she came blind. I believe like she was handicapped severely. And it just goes to show, hey, look, your actions, this is what you did. You mangled somebody because you thought they were inconvenient to your life. And this is the argument that many pro-lifers having. Because if you believe, right, and I put abortion is the discrimination, your rights are based on your location. So if a baby's outside the womb, it has rights. But if the baby's inside the womb, it doesn't have rights. This is the argument that pro-choicers are essentially trying to protect. How is that any different than, I like to use slavery as a perfect example of this, subjectively determine someone's worth based on a criteria. Hey, you're a black man, I'm a white man, I have more rights than you. I'm allowed to benefit off your labor. You're a slave. I can mistreat you, rape you, do anything kind of to you because you're property, because you're not really human. This is the same argument that the pro-choicers are doing towards the human fetus. When you bring it to ethics, it's hard for the pro-choice people to justify their position, especially when they say that, oh, we're trying to protect a woman's right to choose. But you're arguing about a baby's right to life. That's the same argument pro-lifers can say. Pro-lifers will say, why the hell should we care about women's rights? Because that's a criteria. Let's say we make a criteria that, hey, women don't deserve the rights to vote or to abort their child. Because you have no moral, really, consistency to defend your position of a woman's right to choose, when literally someone's saying, what's your rights have to do with someone's life? Because at the end of the day, you're making a choice or a decision on the life of your offspring. It doesn't matter how you want to categorize your offspring. You can call your offspring a cat. It doesn't make it a cat. It's still human, and it deserves human rights. This is the pro-life position. And out of the two positions, the pro-life position is the most consistent one. Because no matter how you attack it, the pro-choices argument, they always try to angle it at the woman and making it an emotional appeal to women and saying, hey, women, they're trying to take power away from you. Women, they're trying to take away your rights to choose. They're trying to keep you being a baby mother. Like, they try to create a negative perception around what the pro-life is actually arguing, when the pro-life person is actually just trying to say, hey, what standards are allowed in this country? Do we believe in rights or not? Do we give rights or we take rights away? And this is the argument really is centered in the pro-life argument, but pro-choicers or pro-abortion people, they pretend that the pro-life, all they have is moral arguments, when in reality, all the pro-choice people seem to have is emotional appeal. I digress.
Okay, so under Roe v. Wade, 93% of abortions happened in the first 13 weeks of pregnancy. That's 93% of the abortions happened well before a fetus is technically viable as
sure.
a form
so
of life.
Let's go into viability. So what is it about, let's say, a 6-week baby that has a heartbeat, its own DNA, fingerprint, brain waves, that is less moral worth than an 88-year-old right now with dementia in a home down the street? That person requires assistance, requires help. Why is it that the 6-week baby is of less moral worth?
So Charlie Kirk just highlighted the hypocrisy with her worldview. She's putting a criteria based on what is considered, what deserves human rights. Just like slave owners put a criteria of who deserved human rights as well, based on skin color. She's just basing it on location. And this is the kind of dichotomy that pro-choicers have to kind of find a way around it, because if we gave rights to black people because of we saw this discrimination, this double standard, why not do the same appeal to a unborn child? Right? Like, this is the problem that pro-abortion people have, is that you guys are basing things based on a subjective worldview, like, because you can. It's a leverage of power, the same way that it was for slavery. And then y'all pretend y'all the good guys here. Oh, you're defending you're rejecting the slave master's right to choose, right to do what he will with his property. AKA, you're restricting a woman's right to choose to what she does with her body. But it's not your body, just like the slave the slave is not the slave owner's property. You see how y'all categorize everything and rationalize everything? The same arguments you guys are making now is the same arguments slave masters could have made for why you should maintain slavery. So it's not enough because of, oh, we do it at this time period, we don't recognize it as a life. It doesn't matter. What's the truth? The truth exists outside of your subjective worldview. And this is the kind of the hint at the argument that a lot of pro-lifers are trying to get across to many people about abortion. At least that's how I would go about it. But I think I spent a little bit too much time on abortion. So the next claim will be about transgender women. So we'll just jump into the next claim.
Okay. What's your name?
Sam.
Nice to meet you. Let's define our terms. A woman is an adult female with XX chromosomes. You tell me, what is a woman?
I think a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
Got it. So that's not a definition. That's like saying a table is something that identifies as a table. Give me an objective definition of
No, it's not. A table is an object.
Well,
A table can't identify as anything. It doesn't have choice.
You have to give me an objective definition of what a woman is.
If I decided right now that I wanted to identify as a woman, I would be a woman.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
I know, but right.
And sorry, I already cut it off, but this is also the argument that I believe pro-choicers does with the human fetus. Human fetus, the definition of a human fetus is human offspring. Fetus just means offspring. Offsprings mean what? Descendant of. Hey, you're the at the end of the day, you're the mom. Like, hey, you're killing your offspring. Oh, I'm just taking away a fetus. No, you're taking away your offspring, aka your child, regardless if you want to recognize it as such or not. And this is the argument that I think many pro-lifers and also many people who believe in definitions is that the liberals loosely define things to fit a conclusion, while conservatives adhered to definitions, aka adhered to reality, what is provable, what is observable, what is empirical. Conservatives try to stay tethered to that. Our reasoning is grounded in what we can prove and what we can demonstrate, while the liberals, they live in abstract la-la land. And I think this is what the problem we have in our culture war and in our definitions, is that many liberals are trying to make everything like relative, make everything subjective, make everything abstract. So that way they can play these little word games. This is the game. This is what I'm talking about. Conservatives live in the world of reality. What can we prove? What can we define? What can we test? While liberals tend to think of word games. What can I define? How can I convince? How can I galvanized perception around this thing? And pretty much what this liberal is going to try to do is he's going to try to convince you to accept his definition of things instead of not actually articulating what in reality is he talking about. Because language serves a purpose. This is my main argument. Language serves a purpose. Therefore, definitions have to be commonly understood, or else miscommunication. You destroy the very purpose of language, which is to communicate what you observe in reality. That's the purpose of language. Language is not some loosely tethered thing, not based in reality. And this is what this liberal is trying to attempt to do by saying a woman is anyone who identifies as a woman. Can an old man identify himself as a 13-year-old child? He's gonna say no. But okay, so what makes this gender so special compared to age? This is the inconsistencies that conservatives time and time again always attack on the liberal side because of their loosely defined definitions, because they want it vague and loose so they could always change it to fit a convenient narrative that they want to portray in reality. Conservatives try to tell you what's true. The liberals try to convince you of what's true. That's my argument. Let's continue.
Right now, I'm a man, right? So if that happened right now, I'd be a woman. So
is.
once a person makes the decision to identify as a woman,
Got it. No,
they're a woman.
that's a separate issue. What is a woman?
That's the definition.
No, I know, but you have to tell me what.
A person who identifies themselves as a woman.
But you have how do you know that they are that thing?
How do I don't need to know what they. I can ask them if I want to know.
But there needs to be. You need to tell me what that thing is, though.
Somebody who. Okay, sorry, we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere.
Well, no, it's important because it's like saying a giraffe is a thing that looks like a giraffe, or a coyote is a thing that looks like a coyote. It's called circular reasoning. You have to give me a actual definition.
I don't have to. I did give you a definition.
No. You said that a woman is something that thinks they're a woman. That doesn't give me a definition. That's simply.
What would you consider a definition then?
An adult female with XX
No.
chromosomes.
I mean, like, what makes that a definition?
What makes that a definition? Can it describe what you're observing in reality, and can someone validate what you've seen in reality? Kenny is in a room. Can you validate that? Yes, I see Kenny in a room. This is a room. What is the definition of a room? You go down the line of logic because you're describing what you see in reality. And this is what happens. It seems like the left has lost the reason for why we do things. They don't understand why we have a language in the first place. It's not to communicate your perception. Language is used to communicate reality, what you observe. And if you can observe something, that means you can point out what something is. If I say, look at that woman over there, and this guy here, he has a definition of woman is anyone who identifies as a woman, and my definition of woman is adult human female. If I say, what is that? Look at that woman over there, and you look at a man, and I look at and I'm talking about this, an actual woman in reality, you're gonna cause what? Confusion and miscommunication. From that point on, language just loses its function. And this is the problem I have with the left. It seems like they don't respect language enough. But I think I've seen enough. I think because the trans issue, to me, that's an unassailable position that the left is never going to win on that front. But I digress. On this next clip, we're going to talk, the final claim that I'm going to react to on this video is Kamala Harris a DEI candidate. So let's take a look.
The next claim is that Kamala Harris is a DEI candidate. A lot of competition, Mason.
Yeah, exactly.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Can I define what a DEI candidate is?
I think that you're going to say because she's black and she's a woman, she was appointed because Joe Biden promised that, and it is not a testament to her success.
Not only that, but also in her getting the nomination of the Democrat Party, they said repeatedly, we do not want to pass over a black female.
Okay.
So just those two things, but the first one is stronger. You're right. Joe Biden said, I'm going to put on my vice presidency a black female.
Right.
So his criteria was
kept.
Yeah, and that was like Karen Bass and Kamala Harris.
Okay.
So she was not chosen because of her intellect or her accomplishments or because of any of that. It was because she happened to fit a couple boxes. In fact, Amy Klobuchar, the vetting at the time was that Amy Klobuchar would have been a better VP, and Kamala ended up getting it. So it's just a statement of fact that she is there not because of her brilliance or accomplishments, but because of her ethnicity.
Now, I know the liberals keep shaking their head and they keep capturing that, but it's almost to the point where, like, for liberals, they care about like how something feels versus the validity of it, right? So Charlie puts a claim about how Dana Bash, I forgot, not that Bass, B-A-S-S, that she was more qualified, and apparently I'm guessing she's a black woman as well, but Kamala still end up getting it. So that kind of bolsters Charlie's point here. So I'm gonna see. It's gonna be interesting to see how this guy pushes back against that. So let's see. Let's continue with the video.
So Kamala Harris, first and foremost, there are a lot of criticisms that you can give to her on why she wouldn't be an effective president. It shouldn't be because she's a woman or because she's black. And it seems to be that you're saying that.
No, I just want people to understand and agree she didn't earn this.
She absolutely did. She has a career where she's been not only a DA.
DEI stands for
one of the biggest.
Didn't earn it, just so we're clear. But like
it stands for diversity, equity, inclusion. I like the meme though.
I know what it is. But do you at least admit and acknowledge that when Joe Biden was searching for a VP, he cared more about skin color and a female than the smartest, best person?
So the whole conversation with this affirmative action with DEI, the whole reason why people bring it in is to make this imaginary scenario that there's a super qualified white man who was overpassed by this unqualified.
It doesn't even have to be a qualified white man. It could be, let's say it's a super qualified Hispanic woman, and Kamala would have gotten the job over her because Joe Biden specified the requirements exclusively on gender and race. Something that if long ago, if I said, oh, we only want to hire white men, you guys would have called it racist. But nowadays, because it's benefiting a supposed victim group, minority group, because that's a perception and narrative that the left love to push, right? They love to believe preconceived narratives that they created. They find excuses for it, and they justify that discrimination as good. I say affirmative action is racism under new management. So how is this not racism? How is this not privilege that you filter out all kind of candidates outside of the race and you exclusively pick only one specific race and one specific gender? Make it make sense. And now you're sitting here trying to justify it. This is why I'm saying liberals, they argue to try to control perception, while conservatives are trying to find out, okay, what's the reality here? What's the truth here? And let's make decisions based on that. And this is the problem I have, and this is why I think the left has never really been convincing on my end. But I digress. Let's continue with this conversation.
Qualified, stupid, idiot.
Well, hold on.
Person of color.
Which
is such a terrible analogy because it's not true.
His own team said.
You see how he's trying to craft the narrative? No one said any of that. Actually argue what Charlie actually said with his own words. Instead, he's trying to make some imagination. Like I said, people suffer more from imagination than from reality. And this is what Charlie Kirks is trying to do. Hey, this is the reality of the situation. This happened. He said this. Joe Biden did this. Instead of trying to actually articulate or defend or try to justify why Biden should be allowed to do this, the liberal went in and tried to create some imaginary narrative saying that, oh, no, we shouldn't. Look at what you guys are doing. Oh, you think there's some qualified white man. You just perceive that black women or black people are just dumber than you. No one said that. But he created this whole perception, this whole imagination, this whole narrative to get everyone to appeal to people's emotions, to make everyone feel, oh, yes, we should allow special considerations. People should be represented in this country. But what about merit? What about quality? Shouldn't we hire the best people for the job? And instead of making a position, making an argument for DEI, he's just trying to justify DEI.
Absolutely not true.
Mason,
that's not what it is.
Joe
Biden did not say, I'm going to choose an unqualified person and just opinion because she's black.
His own team
He's
said
saying that I'm going to have two qualified people. If one comes from a different experience, it might be better to have a diversity and have a better perception in forms of government.
He said at the South Carolina debate that I will pick a black woman as my vice president. Secondly, Amy Klobuchar came out.
Is this a random black woman that he plucked off the street? Or is this a qualified DEA general attorney who's had a decorated career leading government positions? But you keep rambling about things that just aren't relevant to what we're talking about.
It is relevant.
It is. You see, like, this is my problem with liberals too. They think they know what's relevant. Like, they act as if they don't care, if they see no value in it, it shouldn't be talked about whatsoever, right? And this is their way of dismissing points. And this is something I've been familiar with growing up, being black in America, right? One of the, black liberals love to complain about how racism, this, that, but they don't talk about how liberals do this to a lot of black people, especially black people that dissent from the liberal orthodoxy, right? As a black conservative, liberals try to dismiss your concerns, your priorities, and try to make it about other people. What about the other people that can't make it? You're an exception, Kenny. You speak proper English. You got good grades. You're smart. Not a lot of black people are like you. Not knowing that they're implying that black people are not capable of learning standard English, studying, speaking, smart. They're implying that by saying that, oh, somehow I'm an exception because I'm articulate and I'm able to express my ideas coherently. they say that's an exception. Not knowing how condescending that sounds, right? Liberals don't catch themselves because I don't think many liberals are reflective on how they come across sometimes because they're so used to speaking in their own little echo chamber. Like I said, Democrats are more likely to block people of opposing political ideology than conservatives are across the board. And you've seen an experience of that. All the liberals shaking their head, they're agreeing with this guy, but to me, he's not really saying anything that is making anything compelling for why we should allow DEI in the first place, why we should be picking someone based on their race and gender at all. Like, make it make sense. What justifies someone to exclude all other candidates based on race and gender? Even if that person is more qualified than the person you decided to pick. Oh, I picked a qualified black woman. Yeah, but there could have been even more qualified Asian woman. Why you didn't pick her? Discrimination. Like, this is the argument. Hey, why are you allowed to discriminate based on this criteria? He still have not given a reasonable argument for that.
Amy Klobuchar in vetting came across as the more qualified candidate.
Why?
Because they said Kamala Harris wasn't very smart, wasn't very bright. That's their own vetting documents.
From who?
Joe Biden's own vetting documents
So
show.
Why would he go against that?
Because the base of the Democrat Party demands tribal politics and DEI politics over competency.
That's completely inaccurate.
He stated Jim Clyburn said, I will only endorse you in the South Carolina primary if you say that you're going to put a black person, preferably a black female, on your ticket with you. Therefore, you winnow the entire universe down and say, I'm only going to choose from this criteria. And let's just think more broadly. If you're about to have heart surgery, would you rather have a heart surgeon that's good and excellent, knows what he's doing, or someone that is a black female?
So,
and being president's more important than being a heart surgeon.
Aren't you on record saying that you'd be terrified if there was a black pilot that was flying?
Yes, I did say that. But why?
Okay, cool.
What was the full quote?
I personally, I don't know. If you want to
narratives. Like this is what I'm like. If I literally, I'm skeptical of both Charlie Kirk and him. Who are you gonna believe? Hey, did you say the person? Hey, you said this thing. Yes, person agrees that he said said thing. Okay, person who agreed to said thing saying I'm really scared of black people if a black person is piloting the plane. Do you know the context for why I said that statement in the first place? What led me to say that context? Oh no, I didn't hear it. I just took what I wanted to hear to justify my anger about you and DEI. But you still have not made an argument for DEI yet. I'm tired of people like this, and they wonder why people are leaving the Democratic Party. Why people ain't going for it no more. Because all y'all care about is controlling people's perception, not actually informing them on what you actually believe, what you actually think, and actually trying to persuade people. Instead, you try to gaslight people into agreeing with you. This is liberals I'm criticizing right now.
Expand on
that. Yeah, so this ties into this. United Airlines said that half of all their new hirees are going to be black or women, and that standards and pursuit of excellence is not going to be taken as seriously as diversity. When I'm flying a plane, I want to know my pilot is there because they're a good pilot, not because they fit some DEI box.
Yep, that's the reality. That's with anybody. And I already made the argument before that DEI will only incentivize more discrimination against people based on their color and gender, because of the fact that they see these programs where it's giving more leverage, more advantage to people from these disincentivized groups. And I also pointed out how DEI only benefits the upper middle class people of those groups. That means upper middle class blacks benefit more from DEI than poor blacks, right? We don't want this, right? If a rich black girl versus a rich white girl compete for the same job, they come from the same area, go to the same school, the black girl will have an advantage, used to have an advantage, right? But when we remove DEI out of college admissions for Ivy Leagues, black attendance dropped down by 10%. It was there before, after when DEI was instituted, black students were admitted to Harvard or MIT, at 15%. 15% of the administration was black. Administrative students were black. After DEI got struck down from Supreme Court, the incoming class of 2024, only 5% of blacks who were going to MIT was admitted. That means for sure we know those blacks that's going to MIT right now in 2024, they're actually qualified and actually are capable and competitive to be in MIT, because we removed the reason for their discrimination, the reason for the perceived racist narrative that black students in MIT are not qualified, which was affirmative action in of itself. Because affirmative action is racism under new management. And that is my argument. That is my closing argument. Let me know your thoughts about it. I think it was an interesting setup. I know it felt like a little rush, but I didn't want this video to go on forever. So I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.